Hello and welcome. My name is Ali Goff. I'm the owner and founder of Goff Legal, and Medi-Cal is the name of the game. We are going to be talking about talking to you, I suppose, but Goff Legal, colloquially, we're going to be talking about some of the planning techniques we use to qualify people for Medi-Cal. I am not going to walk you step by step how to do this. Why? Because it's different for every single person. And there are some very specific nuances in the law and qualifications that I want to make sure you don't mess up. I'm going to give you the big picture because I want you to know, I want you to feel empowered if you need this type of work. Some of the language we're going to be using, some of the conversations we're going to be having. But this is not a DIY project. This is not, I'm going to go online and I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to start gifting some stuff. Whoop, time out. No, severe consequences. Severe consequences. What are those consequences? Let's talk about that first. Disqualification, meaning you won't be able to go into a Medi-Cal facility and have the government pay their share of cost with your income because you did it wrong. Meaning I mentioned in one of my previous videos, there is a 30-month look back period that says if you apply for Medi-Cal, you have to tell them what you did with your assets for the last 30 months. And if you have improperly gifted, meaning you gifted more than you were allowed to, or sold at a severe discount, they will penalize you and you are going to have to pay the 12 plus $1,000 every month for that care until they then deem you to have gone through your penalty period, in which case you will qualify at that time period. Don't do that. I mean, we're talking one mistake could be the difference of many tens of thousands of dollars. Even if it's 1 month of disqualification, that could be $12,000. Care is pretty expensive. Call care home and ask them what they charge. They provide wonderful service. I'm not saying it's not worth it, but it is expensive to provide round the clock 24-hour care, especially skilled nursing, memory care, those sorts of things. So, whew, this is not a DIY approach. All that said, let me give you some information on some of the techniques and some of the things that we use. So, the first one is pre-planning. You're alive and you're well, you're watching my video and you're thinking, I know care is expensive and I might need it in the future, or my spouse might need it in the future. So, what are my options? Number one is you can transfer all of your assets properly. Remember, I said we have to do this very carefully into an irrevocable trust, or you can give them away, or you can spend them down. Irrevocable trust is one of the best options we have to make sure that your assets are not yours. They're going to be, we call them Medi-Cal Asset Protection Trusts. If you see those online, that's what they are. They're designed to be controlled by someone else, but that means you're not in charge. You can't be the beneficiary. But that way, Medi-Cal says that's not your asset. But let's say you're like, okay, but I'm only like 70, maybe 80, and I don't need this right now. That might be too much. That might be giving away too much. And we will advise you on when that is the best way to do that. So maybe you want some flexibility. And one of the best things we can do is put in proper language into your power of attorney and your trust that would allow someone to make these very strategic gifts in the future. Meaning, you keep your revocable trust, you keep all of your authority, all of your power, all of your control today, but you give someone an on off lever of if this, go ahead and flip this switch, create that trust, do that funding, work through that. But if you didn't need it, then you don't need it, and you don't need to give away all your assets or invest in that particular trust right now. Or most people who aren't looking for Medi-Cal or nursing home coverage, care coverage in the next 2 years, that's a much better solution. I really don't love transferring or giving away assets just because you're worried about this thing that might happen. We have other mechanisms. We have other ways to do that. We might create a trust, but not fund it for you, meaning it just sort of sits there as a shell, ready to go in case of emergency. That is a really interesting and cool technique we can talk to you about. Heck, if you watched my video on qualification, you're like, I have $140,000, a house, a car, and a retirement account in payout. You, like I said in video on recovery, you need a basic essential estate plan that avoids probate. you can spend down or gift some money, that $10,000, apply for Medi-Cal, and you're off and running. So, like I said, there's a reason why I can't give you advice on this is because it's different for every person and your assets change and your family. There's also, to get like too into the weeds, there's different limits for a married couple versus a single person. There's differences if you have two spouses going into care versus the well spouse is staying home and the non-well spouse is going into care. Are your minds blown or irritated by now? Yeah, there's a reason why we have special designations for this. Not all estate planning attorneys do Medi-Cal planning. You want to look for someone who specifically does Medi-Cal planning. Elder law, sometimes you can look up elder law is sort of a synonymous term. Sometimes people who do special needs planning also do Medi-Cal planning, so sometimes there's some crossover there. More advanced planning techniques. Our office does Medi-Cal planning, and what we tell clients is the sooner you plan, the less complicated and expensive it's going to be. But if someone calls us and we're going in for nursing home care in a month, or they're already in there and they're trying to qualify, it's just really, really expensive to try and gift those assets correctly so we don't disqualify them and still get them the care they need. So, hope that's been helpful. On a bright side, I know that wasn't the brightest, happiest video, but it's really, really important. So, if you are looking for Medi-Cal assistance, you can find our information on our website, gofflegal.com.